Hey everyone, Sherman the CPA here. Today I want to show you how to properly write off business expenses as tax deductions to lower your taxable income, which will result in you paying less taxes. Now this is very important because the IRS can disallow your tax deductions if they are not legitimate. So we are going to talk about what legitimate tax write-offs are and the proper documentation and records you need to keep in order to prove this. So if you want to pay less taxes and write off business expenses correctly, stick around for this full episode and please help me out over here by clicking the like button below. All right, so the first step to writing off business expenses is to make sure that your expenses qualify as business tax deductions. Section 162 of the Internal Revenue Code says that you can deduct all ordinary and necessary expenses paid or incurred during the taxable year to carry on any trade or business. According to the IRS, an ordinary expense is one that is common and accepted in your business or trade. For example, an ordinary expense for a landscaping company might be buying a business truck to carry supplies from one location to the next. Whereas someone with an online business selling courses might have a difficult time proving that a business truck is an ordinary expense for their business. Now, a necessary expense is one that is helpful or appropriate for your trade or business. To me, this means that the expense is necessary to operate your business. Or in other words, you need to incur this expense in order to deliver goods or services to your customers or to operate your business. For example, as an accountant, I would be unable to file your taxes without tax software. Therefore, tax software will be absolutely necessary to incur as an expense for my accounting company. Now, in general, as long as your business expenses are both ordinary and necessary to operate your business, you should be able to deduct them from your business taxes. And there are literally hundreds of business expenses you can write off to save money on your taxes, so much so that we made an entire video with over 100 tax deductions. So make sure you are subscribed to our channel to check that out and our other 250 plus free videos on our channel to help you save on taxes. Now, let's talk about how to prove that the tax deductions you claim on your tax return are actually legitimate. Now, this is something that a lot of people miss, which can end up haunting them in the event of an IRS audit. Check out this comment by Kathy on a TurboTax thread. She said she has been audited multiple times and the IRS demanded two forms of support, the invoice or receipt and a proof of payment, and that without this, anything can be denied. Now, according to the IRS, it is your responsibility to prove your expenses in order to deduct them. And the best way to do this is to keep up with your business records and maintain documents to support the expenses you are claiming as deductions on your tax return. You can keep up with your business records through bookkeeping, and bookkeeping is just the process of organizing your records to show your sources of income and deductible expenses for tax purposes. Now, to do your books with ease, you should operate out of a business bank account. Then you can simply sync your business bank account with a bookkeeping software like QuickBooks to import your transactions, and then you can categorize your transactions from there. Now, we have a separate video that teaches you the basics of bookkeeping and literally walks you through how to do this yourself, so make sure that you subscribe and check that out. Now, the other important item that we need to keep up with here is your documentation. Proper documentation typically includes your receipts, canceled checks, invoices, or bills to support the expenses that you are claiming. And for some expenses, like business travel, for example, you may be even required to keep a diary, log, or some type of agenda that shows how these expenses are ordinary and necessary for your business. So whenever you make a business purchase, you need to make sure that you keep up with your receipt or invoice so that you can prove this when you file your tax return. And if you want to make this crystal clear, you can make a note on the receipt or invoice stating what the purchase is for, or keep a diary or log of these notes. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking that this is a whole lot to keep up with. Well, first of all, it's totally worth it and can help you save thousands of dollars in taxes. And secondly, you can automate this entire process. For example, QuickBooks actually has a feature in their mobile app that allows you to quickly scan your receipts into your bookkeeping system so that everything is tied together. They also allow you to automatically forward receipts from your email into their bookkeeping system, as well as a host of other options to make this process as simple as possible for you. So be sure to take advantage of the technology available today to simplify your bookkeeping and documentation process. Now, the last step to writing off your business expenses correctly is issuing the correct tax forms to your vendors at the end of the year. For example, if you hired any employees, then you need to issue them W-2 forms at the end of the year stating their reported income. And if you hired anyone who is not an employee, then you need to issue 1099 forms to them at the end of the year, which reports their income. Now, before you work yourself crazy with all of these different 1099 forms, keep in mind that you do not have to issue 1099 forms if you paid your vendors through a third-party payment processing company. For example, if you paid your vendor with a credit card, debit card, or through a website like PayPal, you are not required to issue a 1099 form. Instead, the third-party platform itself is responsible for issuing those 1099 forms to those vendors or contractors. Now, the second thing to note is that you only have to issue 1099 forms for contractors you pay above $600. So if you pay someone less than $600 to perform a project for you, you do not need to issue them a 1099. And there you have it. The 4 steps to writing off business expenses are to first, incur legitimate business expenses which are ordinary and necessary for your business. And then secondly, you need to keep up with your bookkeeping, which will identify all of the sources of income and expenses for your business. And then the third step is to tie in your documentation to support those transactions, like receipts, invoices, or other documents to support those transactions. And then lastly, issue the correct forms to your vendors and employees at the end of the year, like W-2 forms and 1099s. And as long as you follow those 4 steps, then you are on track to writing off your business expenses correctly. Thank you for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments below.